Thank you everyone for tuning in to this edition of the Small Business Survival Kit. I am Bill Fioravanti, your Director of Economic Development for Orange County, New York. We are here with the marketing episode for the Survival Kit. We've had a number of other topics we've covered before. We've talked about pivoting with technology. We've looked at finance. We have talked about operations technology, e-commerce, and we're today going to put it all together talking about marketing. We have two terrific interviews that we're about to get to. The first is with Stephanie Kistner. She is the tourism coordinator for Orange County for our tourism department here. She's going to be talking about marketing place, talking about marketing at any time and any era, but certainly amidst the COVID pandemic. How do you market a municipality, a town, a city, maybe even a commercial corridor like an artisanal shopping village, let's say Sugarloaf, for example. So Stephanie's going to touch on that. And then we're going to move to Niki Jones, who is the CEO of Niki Jones Agency, a marketing agency here in Orange County. And Niki is going to be really touching on a lot of the subjects that we touched on in previous webisodes, but focusing obviously on marketing, on really being strategic during this time and how to take advantage of really the unusual opportunity we have here in amidst a number of market disturbances, but really to make the most of that. So that's coming right up. Before we get to the interviews, I just want to encourage everyone out there that if you do need support, you're looking for resources, especially during this tough time, during the pandemic, please reach out to our Office of Economic Development. You can call us at 845-360-0231. Again, that's 360-0231, or certainly follow us on the web. We are on the Orange County website at orangecountygov.com. And you can follow Orange County Economic Development on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And look out for further videos like this. But without further ado, we'll get right to our interviews, starting with Stephanie Kistner. Thanks very much. Welcome, Stephanie. Stephanie Kistner, Tourism Coordinator for Orange County Tourism. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, it's great to be here.
It's good to see you. We have not seen a lot of each other. We usually communicate a lot, and it's just, but all the electronic messaging.
I know, but we still get business done like that too.
Absolutely. So your department has been busy as always. I never see you guys slowing down, frankly. First of all, I want to give people information of how they can follow Orange County Tourism and contact you folks if needed. Do you mind just sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always visit us on our website. That's orangetourism.org. Or you could send us an email directly. It's tourism@orangecountygov.com. So either way, you can catch us, and we're at 99 Main Street. So when we open, you can come visit us too here in Goshen.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'm looking forward to your talk, and I know a lot of folks that are watching are. You're really. I look at your team, both tourism and office. You're a marketing team, if you ask me. I'm not sure how else you look at it. So that's why I was excited about this. I'd love you to share information. Not just it'll be marketing that can be applied for businesses, of course, our main audience, but also our local municipalities, our towns, our villages, our cities. You guys always support them in terms of trying to help them promote their area. So. I imagine what you're gonna share could be applied by them as well.
Yes, absolutely. Any piece of this information could be small business, could be municipality, could be your association. It can all be applied. So it's great information to share and to be talking about.
Super, great. So let me ask you right off the top, when the COVID pandemic hit, did you folks slow down? Because no one's traveling or looking to travel. So tell me how you guys reacted in that sense.
Yeah, that's what you would think, but it was actually the time to put our foot to the pedal and really shift the way that we were doing things before. So no, to answer your question, we never really slowed down. We did put some things on pause that didn't really make sense for what was going on in our community and our economy, but we did shift to focus on some other initiatives that were really important in making sure we start the road to recovery with tourism and film. So I'm glad.
Right.
I'm glad you.
I notice you're using the word shift. You're supposed to say pivot. That's just the word today. You have to use that word. Okay.
Yeah,
just want to correct you.
You're right. You're right. We pivoted, and we changed our marketing and our branding campaigns completely. So
can you explain how you did that? What the shift was? The pivot? Pardon me.
Sure. So like I said, we put some things on pause, but what we really wanted to focus on was never stopping our PR efforts. So those were really, really important to us as we push out stories to local press and Hudson Valley Magazine. And we work closely with I Love New York to make sure we're feeding them stories that are success stories in the county. And some of those never really changed in the time of the pandemic. Take, for example, Finding Home Farms is a sugar house that we have here in the county. And they, based on some of the information we were able to share, they were featured in Oprah magazine. So it was more of an informational piece, but our awareness and branding of the county never really slowed down during that time. So that's a great example, a small.
So pardon me, a lot of folks in business think that it's counterintuitive to push marketing at this time. They think, all right, things are slow, maybe short on funds, whatever it might be, got to slow it down. And a lot of folks think the opposite. It sounds like you're saying that this is the time, especially to something so unique as the pandemic here, that now's the time to really kind of put your name and your branding out there. Is that how you've approached
Absolutely.
it?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. I'd say it's a great time to be branding, to make sure that people are aware of where you are and what things you have to offer. And, that can be organic. That could be from your social platforms and your own website. So maybe it's not necessarily in the sense of paid media like you're speaking about, or like some companies invest in, but it's making sure that information is out there. And that reminds me of some of the initiatives we did in-house during this time, which I think were very important in just making sure that everyone was aware of what was open and depending on the stage. And of course, we're mindful of the phased opening and choosing our words wisely, but it was really important for us to make sure that we were getting the information out to the public and to visitors about what we did have to offer. So we started a couple campaigns that we called Keep Calm and Carry Out, Keep Calm
I remember that.
Find a Farm, and Keep Calm and Eat Outdoors. So these the order of them followed as the phase reopening started, and we were able to really show people what we did have to offer. We knew takeout wasn't going anywhere. So we wanted to compile that list and make sure people had a reference for what they could be doing at a time like this, and find a farm. I mean, Orange County has a robust farm offering. That's one of the things that we love most about this county, and why our agritourism sector is so strong and so vibrant. That was important to let people know. Maybe a farm that you didn't know had a retail component now does, or that the retail component is open, especially at a time when, maybe you're not inclined to go to the grocery store. So those pieces were really important. And then most recently putting together the Keep Calm and Eat Outdoors is feeding into that overall branding messaging that we've shifted to, which is open spaces, open air experiences. So we'll see that continue as more and more businesses start to open and visitors are able to do more and experience more in our county.
Stephanie, what would you say? How would you describe the response to that kind of marketing? I do see people voting with their feet. I know Belleville Creamery, for one. I've just seen like 200 people outside there. What's the response been?
The initial response has been wonderful. I mean, you can see it if you're in the county with us, that businesses are busy and people are visiting outdoor dining experiences. They're excited about it. So it's just been wonderful so far. And we only look for more in the future, which will be great.
Can you talk about, kind of other best practices, what people are doing that can really, help them boost things during this time?
Yeah, there are some trends that we're seeing are most prominent in our tourism space that we've seen early success with. And the first one would definitely be taking advantage of your outdoor space. So, whether that's you had it before or you've been creative about getting some outdoor space, it's something that we've seen really take off in the past couple of weeks. A great example of this is Warwick, the village, the town, the chamber, got together and said, how can we best attract visitors safely and most conveniently, really? So that was great to see. Their open air dining experience that they have curbside, the streets were shut down. That's just a great example. And many others are doing the same thing. So stay tuned. We continue to push out our weekly email to visitors and community members that share these kinds of things. So you'll see even more than just Warwick on that list too. So that's a great example. And I would also say something that we've seen that we love to see is businesses and organizations and associations, municipalities being creative and pushing the boundaries of what their particular business offers. So what do I mean by that? A great example would be a restaurant that does takeout, but they're taking that to the next level and they're offering maybe meal kits to take home. So you get the pizza, the dough and the cheese and the sauce, but you put it together at home. And maybe
that's cool.
even a chef component of that, where they have a chef who's live streaming. So those kinds of things are really important. And even at the most basic level, a business that was brick and mortar before that we've seen expand into the online space for either selling a product or a service, we love to see things like that. And that's something we know won't go away, because once developed, it's bound to be successful in the future. So we love those kinds of trends, and we're excited to share them. I'd also love to share, our distilleries that we have that have shifted to producing hand sanitizer. Although that may be temporary, it's that kind of thinking, that kind of mindset of what are we doing that's different and unique and still providing something to a visitor or for someone to come purchase, and really adding to our business and the economic strength of this county. So those are just a couple examples. And finally, the drive-in. I mean, we know Fair Oaks and Warwick, they've been at capacity for a couple months now.
Incredible.
And it's wonderful to hear that. They've also, I'm sure, as you know, have moved into allowing graduations there.
That's right, sure.
And that's really, they've seen success with that. Maybe not.
Talk about pivoting. I mean, wow.
But that's a great idea. And we'll see that move into live concert streamings or live streaming of different events. And that's just a way that they're doing things differently now, given the pandemic, and they're still able to change, pivot, develop new parts of their business that we'll see continue and hope to see future success with. So
sure. Great stuff. That's awesome. So one of the things we've been looking at from an economic development perspective and business development is, what are the opportunities here? I would imagine there's some great opportunities for tourism in this area. Some people may not think so because of what's going on, but are there opportunities you think we can seize through this?
Yeah, and I think that starts with the fact that we're a wonderful drive market destination. So I'd love to read a quote that I have here from the president of VRBO, Jeff Hurst, and it says, if you drive,
vacation rental by owner?
Yep, exactly. Vacation rental by owner. And he says, if you draw a 250-mile circle around any major metro, so that's every place where you see water in there or mountains or national parks, the homes around it are what we're seeing get booked up first. So
that's
even
us.
though the focus might be on VRBO and Airbnb options, that's not to say our visitors aren't still looking at our larger flag locations, our
Yeah, some people don't want to stay in someone else's place. Yeah,
absolutely. So it was really great to see that kind of information, and just to see the early stats from Airbnb and from VRBO show that we're really waiting for, and it's upon us. It's going to happen very soon. This surge of the visitor who's coming and wants this kind of experience that we have to offer here, this open air, these wide open spaces, these beautiful farms, and just different experiences that they feel safe and comfortable experiencing. So
absolutely. As long as they bring their mask with them, they're welcome.
That's right.
And hand sanitizer.
Yes.
That's great. Super. One other thing I was hoping to talk about was the film office just a little bit, because that's something that you folks took on. Used to be managed by the Orange County Arts Council.
Yes.
And I know it's something you folks got involved in. Could you just tell us a little background? I know that's not what you focus on, but if you could tell us a little background on that.
Sure. Yeah. So about a year ago, we took over the film office from the Orange County Arts Council. And it has just been such a wonderful economic driver. People wonder what is the fit there in terms of tourism and film. And you have a team of tourism folks who know this county really well and have wonderful relationships with our biggest attractions and some of the spaces, and have our municipalities that we work with very closely. So it was an easy fit to bring film under the umbrella and really be able to take film scouts, production companies, take them to different locations, show them what we have to offer here in the Hudson Valley and Orange County specifically, and show them how easy and film friendly we really are. So about a year ago, that's when it transitioned over to us, and
I'm sorry. I remember that because I thought that it should be part of economic development. I thought it made perfect sense there, but you make a really good argument. So I think I finally accepted it now. So luckily we work very closely together, and sometimes your tourism director, Amanda Dana, lets me come along for rides for location scouts and things like that. Or if she can't make it, has me do it, but only if she's totally not available. So
I was going to say that. I mean, economic development, tourism, film, we all go hand in hand. And you know that because we work together on many film projects.
Absolutely.
So whether that's taking scouts out to go see the spaces or working with municipalities. So I know
which we're killing it right now, right? I mean, it's unbelievable, the activity.
We never slowed down. Even in the pandemic, we were still going to different sites and taking pictures, updating our website in terms of film office. This is what I'm speaking to specifically, making updates, making sure that we were in contact with all the scouts. So in the past couple of months, we are in talks with a feature film. It's called Dixie. And we were in competition with Savannah, Georgia for some of the space that they'll use to shoot this.
Wow.
We are also working with YouTube on a series, a paranormal activity series. So that's something really exciting to look out for in the future. Hulu we're working with, and they're going to be doing a series. It's called Love, Beth, and it's with Amy Schumer. So I will keep you updated where she is and where that's going on.
I'd like to see her, that's for sure.
I can. Yeah, so that'll be a fun one. That's awesome for this area. Cool. And then just wanted to share with you some of the major players that are circling. We have HBO, Netflix, and Paramount who are all working on whether it's summer, early fall, or winter, some projects that are in the works. And just to give you a good idea of, I know we talked about this is so very economic development as well. These productions come in, and big or small, they need lodging, they need food and beverages while they're here. They need equipment rentals. They need all
security, cleaning. I mean, I've seen some of the budgets and what they need, and we connect them with local businesses. Of course, you guys do that a lot. It's unbelievable what the spending is. Millions. I think a recent show at Choice Films, which I want to get into, I think they spent a couple million here locally. Yeah. It's incredible, really.
So these are the kinds of things that make it a perfect fit with what we do and why it's so important in the fabric of our county to make sure that we're working hard to get films to come here, films, commercials, series, what have you, come to Orange County and film here. And so we've seen amazing success in the first year that we've had, and we're already looking forward to some of these big names landing and booking up lodging, hopefully to give you an idea, one of these projects might be able to book out a hotel, the entire hotel for 6 months. Right. So it's opportunities like that really are exciting in the film world that we need to continue to go after and make sure we have the space to do it here. So it's an easy fit.
It's great. I'd love to talk a little bit more. We're off subject now. I'm not sure how much this applies to small business, but it's really interesting because we are so busy. I'm not sure if everyone knows, we have at least a couple sound stages here. We have Michelson Studio in Middletown, but Umbra Studio in Umbra Soundstage in Newburgh. It's actually in the city of Newburgh, incredibly. And it's very successful now. Choice Films is the group that's running it now, and they just have great connections. They brought a lot of great productions here already, and it's really been amazing what's happened over there.
Yep, we've worked very closely with them on many different projects, and we have a wonderful working relationship with them. And it's been great to see some of the projects that have come through there, and they help us in many different ways. So we'll bring them into the fold along with others, like you mentioned, Michelson. It's important to keep everyone in the loop, and we are doing that with our film office. So it's a great time for that.
It really is. And they just a couple updates on that. Big Dogs was a show that they produced there, TV show. I think Tony Glazer from Choice Films, I either directed it or wrote it. I'm pretty sure it's he's tied to that somehow. And that's going to be on HBO now, I saw. So that's pretty exciting. And I don't recall, but Mark Ruffalo, do you know of his show that I also saw recently, This Much Is True?
I know
was that filmed locally?
So it was filmed at many different locations in the Hudson Valley, but a lot of their work was done at Umbra. So some of their cuts and some of their filming. So that was wonderful to have here as well.
So great. It's really neat to see that too. It's pretty exciting. So, and you can see some of the background shots. You can tell it's Orange County. So I definitely encourage people to check that out. So who really is the point person for film at the Tourism and Film Office?
The film office is run by Nora Martinez, and she can be reached at her email nmartinez@orangecountygov.com. And she has just been an unbelievable asset to the team. She actually worked with the Arts Council when they had it. So when she came over here and is now working with us, it was an easy fit, easy transition. And she is just wonderful and has been, absolutely bringing all of these exciting things to film here in Orange County. So
it's really great.
More to come.
Last thing before we wrap, I just wanted to kind of comment to the audience, especially to our municipal leaders, that there is something about being film friendly, excuse me, whether it's whatever your permitting process is, and just welcoming them and finding ways to help make it work and make it work for your municipality. I see some that do it well and some that don't do it as well. So that seems to really be an important thing for the area.
Yeah, and you'll see us start to reach out a little bit more and get involved with different municipalities to make sure we are building that streamlined process to make things as easy as they can possibly be, because these film scouts, these production companies, they need things quickly and sometimes on their timeline, and it would be absolutely beneficial for all of us to work a little bit more closely together to get that process ironed out. So you make a good point.
Absolutely. Terrific. Stephanie, this has been great. Excellent information. Anything else you want to add before we go?
I'd love to add that you can reach out to us here in the tourism office with anything that you'd like. Hopefully it's events as they start to get back on the books now, or any changes, any information that you want to share with us. You can feel free to reach out. You can give us a call. Our number is 845-615-3860. You can reach us on our website. You can reach us on our social platforms. So however you'd like to get in touch with us, we would love to hear from you. We love to push out any of your information either on our social channels or on our website, updating our lists. So please, lean on us and let us help you get your information, the correct information out there.
Terrific. And how about the main number for tourism? Someone wants to do it the old-fashioned way. Did you just give it?
Yeah, no, sure.
Sure.
615-3860 is our
615-3860. Excellent. Great. Stephanie, this has been great. Thank you so much. Really. Thanks for all you do to promote the area. We appreciate it.
Of course. It's a beautiful place to do that.
Sure is. All right, Stephanie, thanks so much.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
So let me just identify myself. I'm Niki Jones. I own the Niki Jones Agency. I've been in business for 22 years, and I thought I would just kind of share today some of the situations that I found myself in over the last couple of months dealing with COVID-19, especially as a small business located in the Hudson Valley. So when COVID-19 hit, a lot of our clients decided they were going to put their marketing efforts on hold. So we were very successful in securing PPP funds. And also we received an EIDL loan, and we also received an SBA loan. That actually helped us retain our employees, and essentially our employees were able to work from home, and most of them are actually still working from home now. So I find myself uniquely positioned to be able to speak to other small businesses that might be going through some of these similar types of problems that we often find ourselves encountering, especially in difficult economic times. So what I wanted to talk through today a little bit is kind of some of the disruptors that you might find in the marketplace, trying to identify what were the disruptors, and then also talking through, where was it supply chain, some of the things that you might decide you need to change. And for example, if you were a B2B business, do you need to switch it up and maybe consider becoming like a B2C business? So I thought maybe to start off with some, identifying some of the processes, what did and what did not work. So some of the things that have worked for my agency and other businesses that we've been talking to is talk about technology a little bit. So technology that you use on a day-to-day basis, right? Which technologies do you utilize, and how do those technologies work for you? What do you want to keep? And then post-COVID-19 or pre-COVID-19, what do you want to maybe ditch, right? So for us, we've been very successful with Sprout and with Slack and with our website and with our email and social media. But you also could decide that there are, other programs that you utilized, and as your employees are now working remotely, that those are not going to work any longer. So trying to identify other programs that are going to work better when you have employees working from home would be definitely something that you'd want to do. The other thing I find is that people really need to make a list. It's very simple sometimes. What do I need and what don't I need? So for an example, which employees do I need? So maybe you had to put some of your employees on hold or furlough them for a while or on unemployment. So do you need to keep those same employees, or do you need different employees when you come back post-COVID-19? Trying to make those types of decisions are really important for small businesses. Also, what kind of loans do you need? Do you need microloans? Do you need SBA loans, right? And then if you have that access to capital, what are you going to do with it? Website, do you need a new website? Maybe you just need a repair to your website to make your website work, to be able to get you through these difficult times. So I wanted to use a really good working example of business that had actually been very successful during COVID-19. So if you think of like the food delivery network, what you saw like a huge uptick in people ordering products, online and being delivered to their house. People didn't want to go to the grocery stores, but they still wanted to have different options in food items. But what happened with that is, even though a lot of these companies were actually able to deliver food, there was a problem with the supply chain, because if you were delivering fresh food, what would happen is there was a delay in the supply chain. So you had to kind of be careful in how fresh you were promising and whether that delivery network time frame would be able to be met.
Wow.
So I thought maybe I would talk through a really good example of a business switching from a B2B environment to a B2C environment to use as a working sample. And we have a company that we do business with that is a coffee company. They're out of New York. And when COVID-19 hit, they actually lost 80% of their market share. So
Nice.
what we've been doing is taking them from the environment of, just pure wholesale into B2C. So setting them up with Amazon Prime, and then also setting them up with the Google Retail Marketplace, right? And then fixing some of their technology because maybe their store wasn't set up to mirror their regular website. And then making sure that their social media channels were all set up in a way that you could start to see the tracking and the data analytics that were coming out from online sales. So knowing that we have 230 million, let me say that again, 230 million US consumers, 80% of those people own a smartphone, and 60% of those people actually order online. So that's a lot of people that you could potentially reach. So the question, Bill, would be, how do you adjust what you're doing currently? And then how do you determine maybe what's your new target market? So if you were a B2B vendor and you decide you want to become a B2C vendor, that's business to business and business to consumer, you're going to have to try to determine what is actually needed and how do you actually get in front of that consumer. And I just want to switch it up for one moment. So if we're talking about a restaurant, we have a lot of restaurants in the Hudson Valley, and outside dining, individual dining, how do you create the ultimate experience so that a person that wants to eat out feels comfortable? And maybe that's just kind of creating like a unique small environment that they can go to, where you can kind of go in, you have a personal server, right? And then a person can leave and that space would be cleaned appropriately. So let's talk about demographics and psychographics. So demographics, age, gender, occupation, annual income, education. Those are the things you're going to look at when you're determining who you want to market to. And then when you go into psychographics, buyer habits, hobbies, spending habits, opinions. So this information will help people decide how you can market to them and understand why they actually buy. So obviously knowing that information makes it really valuable when you're trying to determine where you're going to spend money and with who you're going to spend money. So I want to give a really good working sample of, I actually totally stole this from Inc. 5000. I was on one of their webinars and it's such a really good working example. I just want to give them credit for it as well. So there was a gentleman that was speaking about his product. He makes a protector for your smartphone of your screen. And he has all these little kiosks. They're in hotel lobbies, Times Square, airports, malls. When COVID-19 hit, everything he did was shut down, 100% shut, right? Because there's just no traffic.
Right.
So what he decided to do was actually retool a screen that actually has an antiviral protecting coating. And then he took his whole business online. So he's up in business, retaining a lot of his similar employees, although he does have new employees that are more tech related now. He was able to pivot really easily with a very small change in what he's doing. So I thought that was a really good working sample that small businesses might be able to utilize if they have a product that they want to market and trying to determine how they could mix it up. So talking to branding and culture, make sure your logo is in place, the colors you're using, the website, marketing materials, will look like it matches together, right? Make sure it fits together. Do people have a landing page on their website? So if you're going to engage a consumer and you want that consumer to actually go to a web page, make sure that it's set up correctly to convert. And convert means that when you send traffic there, you want them to have an engagement on that page, and then you want them to be able to check out. 80% of people that go and try to buy a product online actually leave it in their shopping cart. So you have this really big abandonment factor. So the more precise your landing pages, the better chance you have of that actually being able to convert into a shopping cart. So now that we've created a really positive visual impact, right? We want to talk about the ultimate experience for the consumer. So ultimate experience, other than branding, kind of touches a couple of other areas, right? It touches security, it's okay, right? And it also touches different payment gateways. So you want to make sure you have an SSL certificate, that your website is ADA compliant, and that you have different options for payment gateway. So for payment gateways, traditionally we've used Authorize.net, PayPal. But if you have a younger demographic, like we spoke a little while ago about attaching to different age ranges of people depending on the product that you're serving up, those people may not use PayPal, right? They may use Venmo. So knowing your target audience again will be very helpful when you're setting up your landing page on your website. And sometimes those things can be done relatively easily. They don't, it's not a multi-$1,000 product to be able to do that. And then if you decide you are going to market outside of this area, say you are going into the European market, then you have to be concerned about the GDPR. So GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulations that are coming out of Europe. And it also addresses the issue of transfer of personal data outside of the EU. So it would attach to the United States if you were marketing directly to Europe. So when we go into the marketing element of this, being careful to set realistic goals and expectations, especially with leads, we can determine using primary or secondary keywords how many leads you could anticipate to get prior to you spending money. So you could say to me, I want 200 leads a week. And then if I can actually tell you how much you'd need to spend in order to get those 200 leads, in comparison to more realistic expectation might be 20 leads a week and how much you would be able to spend to get those 20 leads. And you'll find that you can adjust your budget knowing what the general market expectations might be and or the ROI on keywords. As you know, keywords can be bid on as well if you decided that you wanted to do that. That would apply a lot of times with like a keyword that might be highly desirable, like for attorneys, it might be traumatic brain injury, a very expensive keyword. So doing your SWOT analysis on your client, knowing your audience, knowing your marketplace, knowing your competition. Let's just shift it up a little bit and talk about media. So depending on the type of media that you want to utilize to market to, social media, Google, print, TV, radio, if you talk about your demographics and your psychographics, that will allow you to refine the type of media that you would utilize in the marketplace. Also, if you're talking about low cost or low budgets, then you definitely want to market in the social media realm, right? You know, using Facebook and Instagram are a relatively cheap way to get in front of a lot of different people, notwithstanding the cultural shift that is occurring in those marketplaces right now. A couple of other things, email marketing. If you're going to use email marketing, segment your emails. If you know that you have 500 emails, and let's say you were marketing to people that like binoculars, knowing what they want to use those binoculars for, and knowing who those people are that have shown interest previously on a certain type of binocular, segmenting those markets would actually increase your open rates. Increasing your open rates and unique headlines actually will give you a boost. Text messaging. I'll talk a little bit about text messaging. You really need a company. It can be expensive sometimes per text, right? You can reach certain segmented demographics very easily with text messaging. If you wanted to reach construction workers, they all have their phones on. They really don't have access to a lot of other media while they're out working, but you could certainly ping them. And if you were a restaurant, as people are walking by your restaurant, they could actually open a text message if you were to say, hey, look, come in, we have free martinis, or dollar martinis on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, different types of social media and or display advertising. So make sure you have Google Analytics set up on your website. That Google Analytics allows you to track everything that you're doing. Put different tracking codes for social media, different tracking codes for Google, and then use your demographics, use your psychographics, right? Determine how many people you can actually reach organically. That's usually done with search engine optimization. And then paid reach is really just buying advertising through social media channels. There's probably about 40 different channels out there currently, so I won't go through all of those individually.
Okay.
And then display advertising, it really runs through Google or Yahoo. Don't undervalue what Yahoo can still bring to the table, although Google is the primary search engine that everybody is using. Depending on who you want to reach, again, you would determine what type of ad you would want to run. So let me thank you for your time, right? I know we have had limited time today, so thank you for inviting me to speak for a little while. And then if you need anything else, please reach out at the Niki Jones Agency.
Thanks for being here, Niki. Really appreciate your insight.